These are 5 marketing expenses we cut to become more profitable within our real estate business. I picked out 5 that I think are very relevant and very easy to do for anybody, regardless of if you're a solo agent on a team or anything like that. So let's hop right into it. Number 1, first of all, audit everything and cut all the fat. One thing we realized is we had a ton of money going out in the form of really small, what I call microtransactions. So every month we had signed up for all these different various marketing products, apps, systems, all this type of stuff. And ultimately what happened is over time, those started to add up very quickly and ultimately started raising our cost per acquisition very, very fast. So audit those, go through. If you haven't used it in the last 30 days, just get rid of it. You can always sign up for it later if you want it again. But what we found is a lot of these things we had downloaded, we were paying every month for, but we were never using them. And it was really just jacking our cost per acquisition up over the course of time without us even realizing it. Number 2, we stopped spending money on generic boosted posts. These we found were some of the most inefficient way to advertise our listings and generate leads on social media and on the internet. One thing you guys have to realize is, especially with pay-per-click style ads, they need time to optimize and get better over a long period of time. The problem with generic boosted posts, most platforms will only allow you to do them for about 5 to 7 days. And ultimately what happens is you boost that post for a short amount of time. Right about the time it starts to get some traction, it's over and you got to start a new one. And there's no way to take the optimization that happened on the first one and move it to that second one. So ultimately you're just throwing money out there and really it was not getting us anything. We realized we were spending a ton of money. And the other thing with this too is because each individual boosted post was not very much, but it adds up over time. It was doing the exact same thing that we found when we audited all of our stuff that we were spending money on. It was just jacking up our cost per acquisition, and we really weren't seeing any benefit from it. The other thing that we did that was pretty big for our business is we started leveraging open houses for exposure. And here's what I mean. Open houses are one of the only ways that as a real estate agent, you can leverage the third-party platforms, which, let's face it, have huge followings, way bigger than anything that a solo agent or a team has, to blast out your listings. So instead of, paying to promote listings with boosted posts, what we started doing is we started leveraging open houses. Because what happens is, as soon as you schedule an open house in your MLS, as long as it's syndicating to the big sites, for the weekend, about Thursday of that week, you're going to start getting blasted out. Your listing is going to start getting blasted out as an open house potential for Realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin. All those third-party sites are going to start blasting out. And here's what we saw. We saw from an exposure standpoint when we started utilizing open houses that it was getting our listings a ton more exposure. And we would also use this as a point to go to our sellers and explain why we do open houses. And we would pull data from those sites. So you could see on Zillow before you schedule the open house, how many views, saves, and all those type of things. And then after the open house, and we could take that actual data and show to our sellers, like, this is part of our game plan to get your house sold, because we're leveraging a huge database of people to get your house in front of. It is one of the only ways in real estate that we can actually do that, and we can leverage them to market for us for totally free. Now, yes, I do understand that you're doing this. Sometimes you're going to lose some buyer leads, but ultimately my view of it is, if I get some buyer leads from an open house, great, but ultimately it's for exposure because I'm trying to sell my client's house, and I have a fiduciary duty to do whatever I can to get their house in front of as many people as possible. So transitioned from open houses for just buyer leads to open houses for buyer leads and as a form of exposure through leveraging the third-party companies. The fourth thing that we did is we started testing as much as we could organically before we turn those things into paid ads. And here's what I mean. If we had a post that we thought would make a really good ad, we would test it organically first, and we would get a really good baseline for how that performs. And then if it performs well, we can then throw some money behind it as an ad, not a boosted post, but an actual ad in the platform to run it. The problem we were having before is I was spending a ton of money testing out ad copy and all those type of things that weren't converting. And I would have to throw a bunch of money at it to realize if it's going to work or not. And then it wouldn't work and I'd start over and start fresh. So instead, we started using organic social media posts, throw it up there. You can get a really good baseline on the analytics. If it performs better than a lot of your stuff, then turn that into an ad and start spending some money behind it and see how it goes. Once again, it's not a perfect system, but ultimately, if we can get more data before we start putting money towards an ad like that, it's really, really going to set you apart because you can optimize much faster because you have that data than spending money to test it and then optimize on top of that. The last thing that we found, and this is probably one of the most important things, and I see this all the time now with real estate agents and especially teams, really forget the fact of if your systems are in place, no amount of money you're going to throw at a problem is going to fix it. And this was where we fell into this trap very, very bad. Basically, when you have a problem in real estate, we have this thing where we just want to throw money at it to fix it. But what we found is ultimately part of the reason our cost per acquisition was so high and we weren't very profitable on each deal is because our systems were broken. And what we were doing is we were throwing money at a problem, which would fix one aspect of it. So if we needed more leads, we could throw some more money and bring a lot more leads into the system. But ultimately the system was broken. So our conversion rate was going to go down. When I say cost per acquisition, I'm talking cost to get somebody to the closing table, not just get them in the ecosystem of our lead generation systems. So ultimately, if you don't first fix your broken systems, anything that you do is really not going to have a big effect on your business, because when the systems are broken, you're not going to be able to convert at the highest possible percentage, which ultimately is going to affect your profitability big time. Now, the other thing I want to touch on here, and this is actually, we'll call it a bonus tip. One thing that we really, really got sucked into was the free lead. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is referral-based lead services. So when we transitioned away and started to do some of our own lead generation, I thought to myself, hey, if we're not paying for it, it doesn't count. But here's the other thing I realized. A lot of those referral-based lead generation services take a huge percentage. And what happens is if you close a deal through them, by the time they take their cut, your brokerage split hits, all that other stuff, you're really not making any money. So you just worked a long time for free. So don't get sucked into that. It's something that's very easy to do. Now, I will say if you're a new agent and that's how you need to get reps so you can improve, by all means do it. Because I think sometimes as a new agent, you need to be okay with doing deals for free or almost no profit so you can get better. And I do think that's where referral lead-based services come in. But ultimately, once you've got to a point that they're no longer offering you that benefit of getting better, it's probably time to dump those referral lead services, because let's face it, if you're giving them 30% off the top, it's really, really hard to grow a successful business when 30% goes straight back to somebody else before you even touch the money. That's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys can take this information, implement it today, and grow your business. Small incremental changes over a long period of time will make a huge change for your business.